We're back. Oh, hey. Somebody's not on our side today, apparently. I should have showed them how I just picked all those up. That I'm going to do too. Okay, so back to where we were. I was showing you beaded knitted stitches that are purled on the next round. So when you purl, I just showed you on one of my pieces here, but this is a great one to show you. So if you're doing, this is why pre-stranding is super important for my design. So this is a turn brim, which means my cast on was down here. I knitted all this, I did a purl round, and then I knitted the same amount on this side. I turned it under and seamed it in on the inside. So this is the edge of my turned brim. So as you can see, it's sitting perfectly on the outside of the purl stitch. Now, as you learn beading and all of those types of things, I've seen a lot of people, like I said in the last video a minute ago, consistently throughout the entire designs of mine, I have seen, especially ones that there are purled beaded knitted stitches. It's a lot to soak in. But a lot of them are landing underneath that nice purl braid that happens in a horizontal purl round. So when it sits underneath like that, you haven't done anything wrong. It's just you haven't figured out where to hold your bead per se as you're knitting it into the stitch and then purling it. So all that means right there, it's not rip it out and fix it or whatever. All you have to do is just push it back up through the stitch. So here's a good example. Here are 2 rows of, actually 3, of purls, right? So there's actually a knit round in between the purl rounds. So after this first purl row that I did a knit row where I added a bead every other stitch. Then the next round is when I purled it to get it on the outside. So we know what a horizontal purl round looks like. A lot of the times I've seen the beads sitting underneath. That's okay. You just have to keep doing it, and then you'll realize how you can get it to land on the outside. But once again, I mean, they move too. I mean, look right here. Where's the bead? Oh no!
I panicked one too many times.
Yeah. Oh look. Boom. There it is. So it's okay. It's okay. And now this is a stitch pattern that I hadn't done until this, and this was to go with my Vera's little pencil skirt. I did a basket weave, but what I did on the final row before I switched was a beaded cable. How fun is that? So it just gives it a little bit more of a fancier look. So that's all I have on the beaded knitted stitches that we then purl. So now we're gonna do beaded cables. Now these are like, cables and beads are like my favorite thing. So, and then you factor in my favorite thing to wear, which is a hat. So, okay. Little Vera has to go potty, okay? So, anyway, here are beaded cables. Now, Marky is my right-hand man, literally, because I'm left-handed. So, when I first started publishing, it didn't cross my mind that in my PDFs, what stitch I place a bead on in my cables may matter. I just type up whatever I do, and then that's my pattern. So with Marky, obviously all of you right-handed people, you knit from right to left. So in some cases, I do left to right. So when I get to, let's say you're working symmetry, like something like this, and you want the cables on this side to lean this way, and you want the cables on this side to lean this way. So as a lefty, I am starting on the left side. So my first cable will be a C2F. Then on the other side of the garment, it's going to be a C2B, which means I'm putting the cable needle behind my work on the second one. Now, I'm going to have to verify with Marky if we're different. But the way that my patterns are typed, I do not say what needle to insert where or what side of the garment I'm starting on, because that it just, I think it would stop people from doing them. So I make sure that my patterns are just typed up. You just do this, whether you're left-handed or right-handed. And it works. So you're just working in a different direction. So with beaded cables, cables have an even number of stitches. We want symmetry. So we don't have, let's say you have 5 stitches, obviously you'd put a bead on the 3rd stitch because that would be dead center. With a cable, the way that it twists, that's just not the case. So it's a matter of what side of the stitch you have the bead land, and it looks dead center. I mean, that's just the way it is. So when I show you, we'll use this. So this is a 4-stitch, okay, 4-stitch cable. Now, almost all of my brims have cables because I love them. When I do a 2-stitch cable, my bead goes on the 2nd stitch and on the left side of it, because when that twist happens, it's just where it lands. And so Marky, while you were away from the table, remember in my patterns when we were talking about, I go from left to right, you go from right to left. When I'm doing something with symmetry where I want, one side of the garment to have cables that fold this way and one side this way, my patterns are typed up where the first cable is a C for F, because that makes it turn to the center. And then my one on the other side is a C4B, which folds it into the center from that side. Do you do the opposite of what I do? You just follow the pattern and it stays the same. Do your cables go out where mine go in? I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Okay, because I try really hard to type my patterns up without it being left-handed or right-handed.
Yeah, no, I don't.
So Marky was the first one to really. She's the only one that understands my crazy brain. So I can't even explain it. I mean, she's either genius or crazy.
Probably crazy. Both a little cray over here.
You should see just the text messages for the fingering weight shawl, you guys. I don't know how she even deciphers it.
I'm pretty sure you just copied that one.
Right. So I'm gonna grab the camera here and she's gonna do some beaded cables so you guys can see. And this is a Gentoli factor. So this has 2-stitch cables and 4-stitch. So
and I'm at a 4-stitch.
Okay, so you're about to see a C4F right-handed. Can you even believe it? Okay, hold on. I don't like it.
I know.
Oh, no, it didn't. Okay.
Okay. All right, guys. I think my hands are not working.
It's because they're on camera.
I know.
So she's knitted the first 2. On a 4-stitch cable, I always add a bead on the 3rd stitch, and you'll see why here in a minute.
Okay, and my beads weren't where I wanted them. Okay, I don't know if they can see where I have my bead. Push it around.
Okay, now stop for just a second, Sean. So yours is going to be on the left side of the stitch. Or is that let me see. Is that the right side or the left side?
It's the right side.
Okay. So for you right-handed people, on a 4-stitch cable, your bead you want to place your bead on the 3rd stitch, and you want it to land on the right side of the stitch. You could write that down if you want. I think I'm a visual learner, so this is the best way to do it, is to see it done, and then it makes sense how you get it on the left or the right side of the stitch, etc. So we're gonna let Marky do some more of these so you guys can see. Too bad we can't see comments.
I know.
No.
That's one thing nice about going live on
Facebook.
Okay, and you have to be careful. Don't stretch your stitch. on your cable.
So you saw that bead just pop through. It doesn't matter where your bead is on the strand as you're knitting that bead into the stitch. You just need to make sure after that stitch is knitted, that bead is showing up on your stitch.
And I think that's why I push it to the right side, because otherwise you wouldn't be able to see it.
And as a lefty, I automatically put mine on the left side, which is bringing it to the front where you can see it. So I think it's just natural to do it, depending on if you're left-handed or right-handed.
I don't know why this yarn is curling all over me. And yes, I know I knit weird.
You would think she's
Brittany's probably going crazy.
And Brittany, there are no needle stoppers anywhere on all of these projects. I don't like them. I'd rather drop 20 stitches and put them back on.
And no markers.
No, what are stitch markers?
Okay. All right, we'll do this one for you. And normally I would have my beads better lined up for where they're supposed to land.
Okay, and then show them again.
Whoop. Brittany just had a panic attack.
There you go. So there it is, sitting there. Now what is important at this point? Right now, you can't choose what side of the stitch you want it on. It's just the front of their back, the front of the back. So when you get to the round after a knitted beaded round, that's when it, so Marky, if you were to knit that stitch right now, would you go under the bead or over the bead?
I think over.
Okay. Okay. So
I can do that really quick. I'm almost there. Let me do this really quick. I'm at the end of my round almost.
I get that question a lot, the round after the beaded round, and that is a big deal, whether you're knitting those stitches or purling them, because that is a second, like the second portion of doing a bead round is dealing with the round after, because that places your bead in a certain spot. So Marky's almost done with this round, and then we're going to see what she does when she knits those beaded stitches.
Now that I'm thinking about it, there's no, I don't know.
You just have to do it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Ah! Stupid magic loop. Okay.
Yeah, a little taste of magic loop for you here. We're gonna probably be covering that on the next episode. Magic loop and DPNs. I'm a DPN girl. She's a magic loop girl. So
and I'll show you. We can show you the two circulars at a time as well.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Okay, let's see here.
So we're watching to see what she does with this beaded knitted stitch on the next round, because that is very important in your bead placement.
No, I don't know what to do. Let's see.
So you went over it.
Over.
Okay.
Yep.
So as you can see, she stuck her needle in. So can you undo that stitch and do it again super slow? Okay, so she sticks her needle in on top of the bead. See that? So the bead is under her needle's above it, and she knits it, just simply knits it, and that places it on the right side of the stitch. See that? The other side's over here. So that's what to do the round after the beaded round, which I've done a bunch of videos just on that alone. So I think that's good. One thing I was going to show you, in the first video, I talked about you can use a dish to put your beads in, and you can feel free to chase them up the walls of the bowl all day long. It's not works for me. It does not work at all. So done, like I've already, you can go watch the first video to see what I did with these beads earlier. What I wanted to show you, there are millions of different tubes these things come in, little tiny, more of a medicine style jar. I've mostly used Joanne fabric beads, so I have tons of empty ones of these. I use them all the time. Here's what this is what would stop me from beading it. I can't believe I ever did it because I didn't have someone to show me all this stuff. So when it's efficiency, I don't have time. It's got to be quick. So when I'm done, let's say I've already stranded everything I need, then I simply take the beads and I'm serious. I drop a bead every once in a while, I mean, I'm sure there's beads all over my house I don't know about, and I'm left-handed, so I'm gonna have to move this.
Hold it. You got it?
Yeah, maybe hold it and switch the screen. So I just take them and get my hand over there and dump and just dump. All like that. It just takes a second. Just dump them all in your hand. Then, oh no, what do I do with them? Oh my gosh, what do I do with all these beads? Then you take the tube and you just scoop and then get them out of your cracks of your fingers and then just scoop. This is the fastest way. I don't use a funnel. I don't even know a better way. I can't even fathom a better way to do this. And this is, I didn't drop, oh look, I dropped one.
Oh.
Okay, so that's how, these are silly little things I'm showing you, but this is how I get these projects done so quickly and with hundreds of beads. So, let's recap. Tools. Get a collapsible eye. You can see it right up there. They sell them where the whole thing is an eye. I don't have time to stop and pull that out, cram my yarn through. No, this is what you have.
Yeah, because I didn't know.
See?
And I refuse to go buy another one until it breaks. It's almost done.
Yeah, she didn't have these videos.
No.
You know, so fortunately for you, I like this brand in particular. I really need to call them. They're strong. They're way stronger than the other ones that I've tried. They're sturdy. I bet you I don't even buy a 2-pack every 6 months. I think I've had one last me a year at least, I'm sure. So just take good care of your stuff. Beads, don't get painted beads. It will rub off on your beautiful fiber. Who wants that? Not me. So bead numbers, when you look at bead sizes, the smaller the number, the larger the bead. So a size 2 for worsted, a size 8 for fingering, even a size 10 for fingering. I think we've pretty much covered it, left-handed versus right-handed, and all that good stuff. So this is so I want to clarify a couple things. This is our podcast. This is our chatty chat fun time where we still show you things, and you saw some, demonstrations. These aren't video tutorials, okay? So you will get little mini ones mixed within. Our podcast will probably last an hour. Now, by the time I'm done talking, we'll have 2 videos that will equate to an hour. So that happens when you go live. So they won't all be live, but this is how I'm comfortable, is just winging it. I don't like to rehearse things. It just doesn't come out right. So this will be our podcast. Now, I bet in no time we're doing this once a week. I really do, because I don't think once a month is enough. So this is just the beginning. Thank you to all of you guys that watched. Hopefully you guys have learned a little bit and are beading things soon.
Like, share, and subscribe.
Right. Like, share, and subscribe, because there's more coming. So this may or may not be the same YouTube channel that I use for my video tutorials. I'm guessing I'll probably just stick with this one so I don't have so many to keep track of. So there will be, when I do a video tutorial, they're gonna be like 5 minutes. They're just, this is how you do it. Thank you for watching. The podcast, we are going to have guests. We are gonna have surprise guests. We are going to go off location. Like, we're gonna do this in yarn shops. This is where it's going to be now. I will still go live in my knitting group on Facebook, of course, but this is where they can save and everybody can access them. So this is the start of all the fun right here on YouTube. So thank you for watching. My little girl, who's 3, has not came over here one time.
She was so good.
So you guys have a great day, and episode 2 is going to cover magic loop, DPNs, and using 2 circulars to knit. So stay tuned, and we will let you know when that's coming. So there needs to be a way where we could just say a word and it just turns off while we're smiling.
That would be so nice.
So instead, I'm going to
Bye,
do
guys.
the good old-fashioned see ya.